Hello, welcome to the Being Whole podcast, where we bring on guests that support my focus here in honoring and caring for our whole selves through sharing their journeys and wisdom that they've learned along the way. I'm so excited to be back to kick off our next season of the podcast. Today, we have Miranda Lee joining us. My friend Miranda is a faith-based health and confidence coach who loves to help busy go-getters build confidence through food freedom, fitness, and faith. Miranda and I talk about boundaries, we talk about food, we talk about working out, but most importantly, we talk about the ways that you can honor your body and nurture yourselves and what being whole really looks like from a variety of perspectives. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm excited to have Miranda here and can't wait to dig into this episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Being Whole podcast. Today, I am here with my friend, Miranda Lee. Thank you so much for joining us, Miranda. I'm really grateful that you're here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Okay, well, you have so many interesting things that are happening in your life, so many different things that you do. You know, one of the biggest spaces that I recognize whenever I go to your Instagram or whenever I talk to you is just the way that you promote how people should be living in a way that's healthy for them, living in a way that, you know, is authentic to who they are throughout mental wellness, physical wellness, you know, just approaching it really as something where, who are you as a person? How do you solidify that? And how do you live in a way that aligns with you? So how did you get to a place where you kind of started on that space? You know, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you to want to coach other people in this way?
Yeah, so it was definitely a long, bumpy road to get to where I am now as a faith-based health and confidence coach. But, you know, I think it stems all the way back to probably the fifth grade when I started really diving into my own personal fitness and health journey. But looking back at it now, it was definitely something that was really unhealthy and obsessive, and it just grew from there. Like I spent lunch into fifth grade, eating my vegetable soup, and then I'd go run a mile every single day during recess. And I think one of the biggest issues is that it was celebrated and applauded by my peers and by adults in my life. So I thought, this is it. Like, this is how I become worthy and enough. I always struggled with weight, especially as a kid. So, with this obsessive working out and this obsessive eating healthy, I would lose a bunch of weight, but of course it wasn't sustainable. So it was, fluctuating up and down a lot. And, this is something I struggled with for such a long time, like even into college where, I'd be working out 4 hours a day, like only eating like 800 calories and just like working out in the morning and then working out on my lunch break at work and then working out after work. Like it was just nonstop. And like I said, it was celebrated by people. And I did competitive boxing for a while, and anyone who's familiar with like the fight world, you have to lose a lot of weight. You want to be the lowest weight possible for your fight. So for my fights, I'd have to lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks. And then when I'd go back to my normal weight, it was, my coach telling me that I was chunky and I was fat and I needed to lose weight again. And, I feel like if, like, he didn't do it maliciously, of course,
Right.
But like he didn't know my mental health situation, my background, my struggle with eating disorders. So, it was this constant up and down where basically I felt like I was only going to be worthy and enough and validated by others if I was, my smallest self, if I was working out the most, if, I was eating the least. So, basically at the end of all this craziness, I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, this sucks. Like, I don't like it. We always strive to, be better or, to work out more, but like it shouldn't be at the expense of, our mental health. And I'm sure we'll dig into it a little more later. But yeah, getting out of that unhealthy headspace was the best thing I ever did. And that's why I love to just help other people do that too, because this society really wants you to think like, all right, there's one way to do it. There's one way to be healthy. And it's not true. Fitness and nutrition is not a one size fits all.
Well, and I mean, you just look at it too. It's such a lifelong journey. I mean, you're talking about how this is, you remember very clearly, it was already in 5th grade and possibly before that. That's just when you can identify it, right? And so really thinking about those thought patterns and the amount of time and mental energy spent focusing on trying to achieve this and trying to sustain that from such a young age, it's really hard to get out of those patterns, especially when, as you said, they are continually reinforced by people complimenting you or by fitting into a certain mold, or, you know, by looking at the media and seeing certain images and body types that are privileged over others. And just really then I think too, one thing, thinking then about what that did to you mentally, you know, all of the mental component of you trying to work on something, but then not feeling like you could probably even tell somebody what was happening mentally because they were so happy for you or thought you were doing so well. So what was that kind of like to even wrestle with? How do I talk to somebody, or what do I do? Like, what did you do in that space?
I think the biggest struggle is like, I really thought that, you know, this is just life. Like, this is what's going to be enough and what's going to be worthy. And I don't think I realized how miserable I was in that moment. I think a lot of people don't understand that it doesn't have to be like that. Like, you can enjoy a cookie or a slice of cake or some chocolate, like literally without feeling guilty at all. And, you know, for me, that was never an option. Like, food was either labeled good or bad. And that's something I love to teach my clients, is like, food has no moral value.
Right.
We don't have to label it good or bad. We are not good or bad because we decided to eat a slice of pizza over a salad. Like, there's no moral value to it. But, you know, a lot of us think like, oh, I'm going to be so bad, or, oh, I'm going to pick the bad option. He. And it's like, what are you, like, it's not, like, literally an Oreo is not bad, you guys. Like, it's not bad.
Well, just our language around all of it too, you know, our cheat day. And like, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm so big into the messaging of all of it too, you know, and that's what I tell parents all of the time, like the ways that you talk about food and the ways that you're talking about exercise and health, your kids see that, you know, so it should be more about incorporating it as overall wellness and how we take care of ourselves, instead of like, oh yeah, I ate that burrito, so now I have to go for a run, or seeing it as like punishment, or seeing any, or even like thinking about the ways a lot of times we use food as rewards, you know, teaching kids that like, oh, you did something good, let's go get candy or cake or ice cream, you know, just even really looking at it in terms of, like you say, we have different places where we privilege, you know, when we're allowed to indulge, you know, or different spaces like that. And really even being honest with yourself about how you talk about food to yourself, like what you're saying, and then how that kind of comes across as in terms of, you know, your relationships with other people, and how open you are about the ways that you monitor your exercise or monitor your food intake.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think people understand like how much weight their words have, like for themselves and other people, you know, like just little comments. And like, it really sucks because, you know, no one wants to be like remembered for like the one maybe little negative thing that they said, you know. But like, I even remember the guy I had a crush on in kindergarten asking me why I was fat. And like, looking back now, like, a 5-year-old doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, why did I take it to heart so much? Like, even growing up, you know. And in other little comments, like, you know, my mom has always been like this tiny, you know, tiny girl, like perfect body in, you know, society's eyes. And so people, especially in high school, would be like, well, why aren't you skinny like your mom? Like, why don't you have your mom's body? And I'm just like, I don't know, because she married my dad.
Because I have different genes, you know, because we're different people. Yeah. And it just, even again, the ways that people comment on your body, or the ways that people think it's okay to comment on other people's body. And that's what's so interesting, is like, if you look at, most people do have ups and downs. They have times in their life where they've, you know, had different situations where maybe they haven't been able to work out, or they have, you know, not been as fit as they want to, or whatever it looks like for them. And so it's always interesting to me too, the way that other people make assumptions based on how you look. Like when I was, I've had issues with bulimia and food control and things like that in my past. And it took me a long time to get over some of those things. So then when I got sick with my lupus, one of the things that happened to me is I couldn't digest food and I was throwing up all the time. And it was like this major mental game of like, okay, I used to make myself do this and that was so unhealthy, but now this is happening in my body. But what was weird about it is I was so sick then with my lupus and throwing up all the time. And people were complimenting me all the time, still telling me how good I looked, how wonderful I looked, until I reached that tipping point then where it got a little too thin. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh, are you okay? Oh, you really need to put on some weight. And it was like, I am already managing all of this stuff that I have inside mentally and the physical stuff. The last thing I really needed was anybody commenting on anything about my weight, my body shape, my appearance, anything like that, especially to make comments when, no, I'm actually really unhealthy right now. There's a reason I look this way or whatever it is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like, that's something, not to that extent, but, I remember one time I had food poisoning and, I was obviously couldn't eat and I was throwing up a lot. And I had multiple people like that week tell me, oh, have you lost weight? Like you look so good. And like, thankfully I was in a good, I was kind of where I am now where like honestly when people comment on my weight even saying oh have you lost weight like it kind of like offends me and annoys me because like I don't have that relationship anymore where it's like oh I seek that external validation for my body. So I was like stop commenting on people's weight. Like and it's like I said before, like no one does it maliciously. Like people are trying to be nice and it's just the way that we've kind of molded society and how everyone thinks you're supposed to do. But like they think you're supposed to say it like that, but oh my gosh, we need to like listen and wait before we talk because yeah, we shouldn't be commenting on people's body, on their appearance. There was someone, I don't remember who, but they said, if that person can't fix it in 5 seconds, so, like maybe some smudged lipstick, maybe, they're, they have a little stain on their shirt or something, don't comment on it, on that physical appearance. And I was like, that is so good. So, commenting on someone's, weight or anything, like they can't fix that in 5 seconds. They can't, run their finger through their bangs real quick to fix it. So if they can't fix it in 5 seconds, don't make a comment on it. And I think that's a rule we kind of all need to live by. And, there's so many ways to compliment people that have nothing to do with them, physically, or even that could have something to do with them physically, but has nothing to do with their weight. Like maybe saying like, you look so energized or you look so happy.
Yeah.
Not saying stuff like, oh, you look so, even like the comment like healthier, like you still don't know like what they're going through.
Yeah.
So it's just like, let's not comment on people's bodies at all. Unless you're telling me how big my biceps look, then please do it.
Right. Unless you're telling me that, yeah, you can see my work and effort in the gym, like then okay, yeah, bring that. I think the thing is like, we have to just remember that most people too, like it's like you said, it's the comment from somebody in kindergarten. It's this comment from childhood, or it's this thing that you remember. So most of the time by the adulthood, it's all of those things stacked up, right? And really being able to understand that this is such a complex space for people. And, looking at my own journey, and I know you've said this too in different ways, the times when I looked the best physically, according to societal standards, I was at my worst emotionally and mentally. Absolutely. So really thinking about like why we privilege that so much over privileging not only, total wellness, but mental health. So like, what was really the catalyst, I guess, for you, or what kind of made you realize that you had to change this, and how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just like realizing that, spending the nights like crying and not loving myself and hating myself and feeling like I'll be worthy if this, or I'll be happy when this happens. Like, I was like, this sucks. Like, I vividly remember like sitting in my bathtub, just scrolling on my phone and seeing, like this big explanation in like medical like journal about what orthorexia was, and it was something I never heard of. And for people who don't know what orthorexia is, it's kind of, this unhealthy obsession with exercise and diet and low calorie and the right foods, the wrong foods, like over exercising, all that stuff. And that was something I was really, really struggling with, like literally counting every single calorie, like, oh, can't eat too many carrots because there's sugar, there's carbs in it, and it's just ridiculous. And I was reading it and I just remember like crying and just opening up and telling my husband, because I've never told anyone about my struggles, especially because I didn't even know that I was struggling with eating disorders. I thought it was normal. So just being a little more open and transparent about it, and then going through like the healing process. It wasn't going to be easy. It's definitely a roller coaster ride, and it's something like I'll probably always to an extent struggle with a little bit. But like where I am now and the relationship I have with my body, and most importantly the relationship I have with food, is just so healthier and so much better. And like there's no guilt associated with it. Like I still work out regularly, but I know the difference between like, okay, is this helping my mental health or is this hindering my mental health? Because you shouldn't be working out to the point where it's like detrimental to your mental health. Like they should both be benefiting from it. And there's going to be different points in our lives where our weights are going to fluctuate, because there's going to be different things going on in our life. There's going to be different priorities. If pandemic hits, like, hey, your mental health is gonna come first, and you're not going to be able to be your fittest self, but you should be able to give yourself that grace and be like, it's okay. Like you're here, you're trying to survive, and right now your physique and fitness is not your number one priority at all. And like our bodies are going to change. We need to be okay with that.
Yes. Right. Well, and I think too, I love how you speak so much, in your Instagram page. And then when you talk with your clients too, about how this isn't just, working out so we look better. It's about, it's not about that at all. It's about, you're doing this because of all of the benefits it gives you. You're doing this because it is going to help you, be more mentally fit. It is going to help your self-esteem. It is going to help your self-worth, but only when you're approaching it, like you say, from a place of this is building myself up, not like, oh, I'm chasing this perfect body, or I'm trying, to become this version of this physique, and really instead embracing like, okay, this journey, this health and wellness and fitness journey is part of the way that I become my best self, right? Sometimes I say, I don't want to say become my best self, because we're all already great, but it's more like the way that we shine that up even more, or whatever you want to say, right? And I really love how you just help give people a mindset shift, not only toward their physical movement, but then how food is incorporated in that. So, what are some of your favorite things to do within that space? Is it working with clients? Is it working out with them? Is it talking to them about food? I know you have so many different ways that you help people with this.
Yeah. I think like my podcast is probably my favorite way, because it's like, all right, I just want you to sit and listen to, because I have so much stuff that I want to share, because, I've gone through this journey for so many years, and it's like, we've gone through all these years living on life, being with our brains being molded of what society has told us. So we are going to resist in the beginning this new way of thinking that we're going to think it's going to be wrong or uncomfortable, but it's like, all right, like it's going to take time. Like you literally have to change your mindset, because your unhealthy relationship with food literally has nothing to do with food. Food is not the problem. It all stems from like where you are mentally, the relationship with, other people and things in your life that, have struggled. And that's why I'm just like, you can't just, try a new diet or start exercising more. Like you have to literally rewire your brain and reframe this mindset that you've been like telling every day is right. And like even these like body standards, these like this ideal body, it's made up. And how do I know
it's made up by people who benefit from it monetarily?
Exactly. And like, how do I know it's made up? It's because there's a different ideal body literally in every country. And the ideal body, even in the US, has changed literally every decade. So how are we like not noticing that? Like, it's just changes so much, and it's made up. And here's the thing, if no one can can easily attain this ideal body, then why are we all striving for it? You know, like we're all striving to be the same. And I bet you that if we all looked exactly the same, we'd all be trying our hardest to be different. So it's just like we want what we can't have. And it's like, stop living like for these other people or these unattainable beauty standards and things that, you know, diet culture is telling you. And like, yeah, your best self is going to change, you know, what that looks like your best self today literally might be just getting out of bed and eating a meal because you're struggling mentally, you know. Your best and the best are not the same. You don't have to be the best every day, but your best is going to vary. Your best one day might be getting up early, getting your Bible reading done, going for a workout, you know, coming back, cleaning the house, doing all this stuff. But, you know, like a day or a week later, you know, your best might just be just dragging yourself out of bed and, you know, brushing your hair. So it's so unfair to think that you have to be the best every day in all aspects of your life, when that's it's not going to happen. And no one posts on social media like, hey, finally had my first meal of the day at 5 p.m. because I was laying in bed so depressed. No one puts that.
And it's like really recognizing that there are so many ups and downs to it, and it is going to ebb and flow. And there are going to be times where you just really have to nurture yourself in a different way, and then letting go of any guilt and shame associated with that. You know, it's not even sometimes comparing yourself to other people, but comparing yourself to yourself, you know, like, yeah, I did that, or I was going to do this, or I should do this, and really letting go of some of that, like I should, or I didn't, and understanding that your best version is doing the best you can in any given moment. That's your best self. Okay. I'm doing the best I can with what I have right now. And sometimes what I have right now is the ability to lay in bed. Sometimes what I have right now means I have to go sit on my bathroom floor and cry. That's my favorite place to cry, is my bathroom floor, or whatever it is for you. Right. And just really allowing that to be okay, whatever it is, and then not build up that shame or that judgment or frustration that you didn't do something, or that you were better last week, or that you should be better, or whatever it is. And I love that you said that your relationship with food doesn't have anything to do with food, because it's such a true statement. And it's all of these things that you're talking about. It's your self-worth. It's figuring out, you know, where loving yourself enough to look at some of these choices that you're making, looking at where your energy is going, looking at your self-talk, and loving yourself enough to stop harming yourself. And like really looking at like, these things are harmful to your body. These things are harmful to your brain. So let's stop hurting ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know why we think that we can like hate ourselves into loving ourselves. It literally doesn't make sense. Like, oh, I'll love my future self if I change this, and that. And it's like, no, if you don't love like where you are right now, you're not going to love a different version of yourself, a smaller version of yourself, you know, because we all look back at, you know, pictures of ourselves from like 10 years ago where we
the 10-year challenge. It's everywhere right now. That's all I'm saying.
I know, but everyone makes sure to find like a picture where they look worse 10 years ago and they look better now. But like, I'm sure many of us have like struggled where like you look back at your photo from 10 years ago and you're like, wow, like I looked like better, you know, smaller, whatever, all this stuff in air quotes. And it's like, you didn't appreciate it then. So obviously the smaller body wasn't the answer to your happiness, you know? So people like, it's just, it gets me every time people think I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if, and it's like, happiness is not a destination. It's literally a journey. You have to choose every day when you wake up to be happy. And like something I do with my clients is like this whole like, oh, I'm going to save these jeans for, you know, these are my goal weight jeans. Like when I lose weight, I'm just like, well, here's the thing. Clothes were meant to fit you. You were not meant to fit clothes. And especially as women, we know that like, okay, the size 8 is not going to be the same in every single company.
Right. I have so many sizes in my closet. It's ridiculous.
I know, it's like, it makes no sense. And we get so like hung up on it. And I tell people like, go through your clothes. If things don't fit you, get rid of them. Like put them in a bag and donate them. Don't keep them hoping that one day you'll fit back into it, because all that's going to do is bring like negativity into your life. You're going to be upset. Like you're probably never going to fit into your high school jeans again. And that's okay, because we weren't meant to. Yeah. And you know what, if one day you do get down to a size where you could fit those jeans, you can go buy some new ones. Right. It's okay. The style's probably different.
I know, I was gonna say, I don't know that my Jabot jeans are in style anymore anyway.
Right? I'm just like, get rid of it. If something isn't serving you, if something doesn't have a purpose in your house, and your purpose shouldn't be, oh, this is my goal pant size. Like, no, get rid of it. If it's not bringing you happiness, bye, get rid of it. Out the door, go donate it. Maybe someone else has been looking for jeans that, will really fit them. And you can, by you holding on to them, they're not benefiting from, the $5 jeans they could have got at Goodwill. So go donate them. Someone else could be putting them to use instead of taking up space in your drawer. So that's one thing I really make my clients do. I'm like, get rid of it.
Well, and it clears up so much mental clutter when you do that too. Like even just going through your closet and looking at the things like, okay, I don't wear that as much, so it's just in the way then. Or, I might have 5 pair of jeans, but I always gravitate toward 2 because I really do feel the best in them. So why am I hanging on to the other 3 then? So I can look at a pair and think, oh, I don't like the way my butt looks in that pair. I'm going to wear this other pair. Like, then why do I have this other pair that even makes me think that, or whatever it is, right? And just even recognizing, like, when you look in your closet or when you look at your clothes, like how much mental energy is there just based on the fact that you have these different sizes or you have different ideas about them. And I think that that's what I'm really trying to pay attention to too, across all areas of my life, is like, how much mental energy am I spending thinking about this? And so what is this situation I can change? Okay. Sometimes it's something I need to do and I just keep thinking about it and I'm procrastinating. So if I just did it, then I wouldn't have to think about it anymore. Right. Or sometimes it's things like this. It's like, opening up your closet, seeing like this constant reminder, oh, I want to do that, or, oh, I want to fit into these jeans. It's like, okay, if that is a motivational tool for you and you open it up and you're like, yes, I'm going to get that, those are the pants or whatever, then by all means for you, that might be a thing. However, I don't think that's what most people are doing with those jeans. They're opening up their closet and being like, oh, I really want to fit in those. Oh, I should have worked out yesterday. I'm never going to fit in those jeans. Or, oh, remember when I could. It's more of that shame or that guilt. And it's not the positive motivational tool. So it's like what you're saying, if it is to fit into something, it's like, look at why you think that's going to be the thing that brings you happiness too. Like, what is it about that goal? Is it because then people will tell you you look great? Is it because you think you will feel better? And really even trying to understand like what makes us think these things, I think is so interesting. And really, I love that you get into that with your clients.
Yeah, people give like the wrong things so much power. Like literally this piece of fabric, like this holds my happiness. Like, how crazy that sounds, yet all of us have done it or still do it sometimes in our life. Like no one else is like your neighbors aren't like, can't wait till she fits into that pair of jeans. Like,
and if they were, that'd be a little weird, right?
Right. Like, why don't we focus on the things that like actually matter? Like, are you spending so much time obsessing about your weight and your pant size when it's like you could be giving your child more one-on-one attention and love and energy? It's like we give the wrong things our attention, and then like we're still miserable at the end of the day. So, just really, really trying to reframe our mindset and really learn how to like just be truly in tune with your body. Like it's so important. It's so great that I'm at this point where, I used to be so obsessed with working out where like even if my body was like literally begging me like, please take a break, please, lady, I would be like, nope. And I'm finally at this point where like, I know the difference between like, hey, I'm feeling a little lazy and like, I don't want to work out, and like, hey, my body truly needs this. And if I'm ever kind of like, okay, which one is it? I tell myself, I'm like, I'm going to get on my treadmill and just do a 10-minute walk, just a walk, like it's a slow walk. And usually I'll know by the end of that 10 minutes which way I'm leaning toward. Like there's sometimes where I'll be like, all right, like I'm feeling good. Let's go. Let's get this workout. And there's other times where I'm like, oh my gosh, this 10-minute walk at a three pace feels like I'm running a marathon. And that's usually when I'm like, okay, my body is telling me no, maybe not today. And it's just so important to be in tune with your body, know what your body actually wants. Like, do you actually like want that slice of cake, or are you like feeling like, ooh, you know what? I just want to, it's bad. I want it. And then eating the whole cake. And it's like, well, did you actually want it? You know, like, are you picking the salad because like it actually, like, are you craving the nutrients? And my husband always makes fun of me because I'll be like, I'm craving nutrients right now. Like I need my smoothie bowl. And he's like, what does it mean to crave nutrients? That's so weird. And it's like, I just know my body so well. Like I know the difference between like, all right, my body is craving maybe more nutritious whole food. And at other time where it's like, you know what, my body's craving like some soul food. Like, yeah, I'm going to order like some pizza and enjoy it with friends or family and not feel guilty about it. And, you know, so many of us struggle like with this all or nothing mindset of either like, I'm going to be completely healthy, or, oh no, I ate a piece of pizza, like fell off the wagon, might as well eat the entire fridge. Or like, oh, if I can't fit in a 1 or 2 hour workout, then might as well not work out at all. When it's like, you could have went on like a 10-minute walk or walked your dog, and like that would have made your body so happy. But people are like so obsessed with like, it's either all or nothing. And it's like, no, there's this wonderful gray area that we need to live in and that we need to enjoy, and it's going to change.
Well, and I love too, you said, you know, even sometimes recognizing when is it that I just don't want to do this because I'm not motivated or I'm feeling lazy and I need to break through that little mental space, versus when is it that I need to honor my body. And sometimes it is, you might not know, because I fall into that trap sometimes too. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. It's like, well, yeah, are you really tired? And just really even being able to recognize and listen to your body. And like you're saying with the food, thinking about it as fuel. Okay, so what does my body need right now versus what sounds good sometimes even, or like what sounds good, learning into tune into that and recognizing, you know, okay, when are the times that you crave something differently, or when are the times, you know, do you notice when you're stressed, then you want a certain type of food? Like just paying attention to all the ways that your body is really trying to tell you what it needs. But we get so we don't listen very well, or we've lost that connection between, you know, what our brain says and what we think we want versus what our body is really needing, and keeping ourselves healthy.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of people really use like food as like this emotional tool, like this tool for, you know, dealing with our emotions, when like in reality you're just like stuffing it down. Like you're not acknowledging the true emotions. You know, a lot of people deal with, you know, emotional eating, just bad emotional habits in general. And, you know, I'll tell my clients, like, you have to like physically remove yourself from a situation and then go back and reassess. Like I remember, you know, I'm very, I have a very healthy relationship with food. I don't struggle with, you know, the things I struggled with my eating disorders, but there'll still be times where like, there'll be little triggers. Like I remember someone made me an entire cheesecake, and it was something that, you know, I brought home, and that's not something that I really do, you know, like I'll buy like a slice of cheesecake, or like I'll have a slice, or maybe bring home a couple slices. But this person made me an entire cheesecake to bring home. And I remember just being like, ooh, like this is just a little triggering for me. Like it's just sitting in my fridge. And I remember like having the cheesecake out, because it was a bomb cheesecake, not gonna lie. And like I had a slice and I was like, ooh, this is really good. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have another one. And I had a second one. And I was like, man, this is good cheesecake. And I was like, I'm going to have a third. And I was like, wait a second, do I actually want this or do I not want this? And I couldn't answer that in that situation right there. So I told myself, like, don't tell yourself no, first of all, because the moment you tell yourself no, you're going to want it even more. But I told myself, I said, you know what, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to take a shower because I need to take a shower. And I was like, if I still want that third slice of cheesecake when I'm done taking my shower, I'll have it. So I went upstairs, I took my shower, and then I was like, no, like I feel satisfied with what I ate. I don't actually want that third slice. And literally all it took was me like removing myself from the situation, and not having that all or nothing mindset of like, oh, I already ate 2 slices, I might as well eat the whole cake. Like,
right.
No, and not feeling guilty that I ate 2 slices of cheesecake. Like, who cares? It was bomb. It was so good. But, celebrating, I love to tell my clients, like, you have to celebrate these little wins. And that was a little win for me.
Absolutely.
Like that I separated myself from it. And, something, and, not telling myself no, just like, if I still want it in 20 minutes after I shower and get ready for bed, then I can have it. But I didn't want it. So, I tell my clients, like, go for a walk, maybe read a book, take a shower, take a bath, go, like, literally remove yourself from a situation for a little bit, and then reassess, is this something I still want? Am I still feeling that this way? And you know what? Maybe you do still want it, and that's okay. But normally 9 times out of 10, once you remove yourself from the situation, you're like, yeah, nah,
right.
I don't want it that
but
bad.
It's like really then allowing you to have some intention behind it too, because if you would have just eaten that third piece, you probably wouldn't have even tasted it in the same way as you did the first 2, right? And then you might have felt differently about it afterward. But if you really would have wanted that third piece after your shower, then you probably would have went to it and been like, yep, I wanted this piece. Oh my goodness. And savored it differently even then too, right? So it's not that you're removing yourself and you can't go make that choice or still have that thing, but it allows you to like really reflect on, okay, do I still want that? And then enjoy it when you do have it or whatever it is. And I think it's really, like you said, recognizing too, that it doesn't have to be an all or nothing word, in the scarcity model. Like if I don't yet eat all this right now, it's going to go away or something. Or if I don't work out, to this level, then it's not worth it. And just really recognizing that anything that you've probably worked on in your life, it was a period over time, right? It was small steps over time that led to big results. It was those daily changes, or it was those daily habits, or that raised awareness in every aspect. So it's like, if we could just realize that that really is the key across basically everything. I mean, like, honestly, because like, just even what you're saying, like, that's the thing that my daughter and I, when we go shopping, we try to do that when we buy stuff too. It's like, okay, I kind of want this, or do I really want it? So it's like, can we leave or think about it later and then go back and see if you really do want it? But just like thinking about it instead of impulse buying, or thinking about something instead of eating just spontaneously. And really, again, just like having that awareness to ask yourself, what do I really want? What does my body really need? And sometimes I think we've just numbed out and we're not paying attention. And so then we just do the thing, and then later we feel bad about it, and we got to stop.
Yeah. And like learning to be in tune with your body is like, it's definitely a process. It's going to take a while. And you know what? Now I'm at a place where I could probably be like, okay, I don't have to physically remove myself from the situation most times, because I can recognize like, hey, I'm full, I'm satisfied, like I'm good where I am, but knowing that I still have basically this coping mechanism to remove myself, to kind of, reflect with myself and what my body wants and needs. And, we in society, we're given so many rules of what you should or shouldn't do, what you should or shouldn't eat, that like we aren't in tune with our body. Like back in the days, no one counted calories. People listened. Like if they were hungry, they went out and hunted and they ate. If they weren't hungry, they stopped eating. But we aren't taught that in society. And like there's like this whole like all or nothing thing where it's like, can't have that, can't have that. And then like you want it, where it's like in reality, if you would have just had that piece of candy, then you would have stopped thinking about it and could have moved forward, like something that's so small that literally like is still like the biggest win in my life is like someone will like give me a piece of candy and I'll put it in my purse and I'll literally forget about it for like weeks. And I'm just like, man, I remember a point in my life where it's like, it didn't last in my purse. I could be like, someone gave me the candy, or like giving it to my husband or like throwing it away. And like, it actually yesterday I was putting something in my purse and I saw this candy that someone gave me weeks ago, like some old man at the pool that I swam at. He's like, well, I have candy. I probably shouldn't have taken it. I'm just kidding. But he was an employee, but he had a whole bowl of it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this, or even just having like a pint of ice cream in the fridge that I took a couple bites out of, and it's like still sitting in there, where I remember the old me would have been like, oh, it's sitting there taunting me. But it's like, now I'm at a point where it's like, I honor my body and what it wants. And like, if it does want some ice cream, I'll eat it. But because I'm honoring my body doesn't feel deprived of all these things I keep depriving it of. I don't overwork out where I dread working out, or I feel like I have to, or I feel guilty if I don't work out a certain day. Like, yeah, Sundays are my rest day, but my body's not like gonna wait till Sunday to get exhausted. Like, if my body's telling me on a Wednesday, like, hey, I need to take a break, I'm not going to be like, sorry, dude, you need to wait till Sunday. No, I'm honoring my body. My body doesn't know what day of the week it is, so just honoring my body and what it wants and what it needs, and just learning to be in tune. And it's a process, it really is, but we have to take those steps to learn to be in tune with our body.
Yeah. And taking those steps and recognizing that those steps are this, it might feel like you're taking the same exact steps every day, and you probably are, right? It's like, that's how they become habits. That's how it becomes pattern. And then that's how you learn to let go of some of those other thought patterns or those other habits. And so just even recognizing that, you're not alone on this, and that other people are going through this too. And I think that I love the way that you just continue to open up this conversation for other people too, because I think that's so much part of this, right? Is that, this is such a common problem. It's something that many people are going through their lives, thinking about food and shaming themselves or restricting themselves or using workouts as a way to privilege, what they can eat and different things. So really even just acknowledging that this is a space that exists, and we need to be better about addressing it and really figuring out how to be healthier mentally and physically, instead of falling into these traps that we've been in forever.
Yeah, like our mindset has been shaped through all these years, and we want it to just be like changed. And I tell people, you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second thought. So yeah, that first thought is probably going to be something that diet culture has taught you, that is just so ingrained in your brain. But it's like, all right, well, take a second and be like, all right, I'm going to control what my second thought is. Your first thought might look in the mirror and be like, that body sucks, like you aren't good enough. But just like, no, my second thought's gonna be like, no, like I am healthy. I, have these wonderful legs that get me out of bed every morning. Like there's so much more to me. Like my body is the least interesting thing about me. Like if that's all you care about, you are missing out on the amazing things that I have to offer. Like my body is just a temple and a vessel that God has lent to me to really, put out the gifts and the purposes that, he gave me. Like I am one of a kind, and it has nothing to do with my body. Like it's just alone, so I'm going to take care of it because it is alone, and I want to, be here as long as I can. But like for that to be my entire purpose of my life is to obsess about like the loan that I have of this body, and to try to, make it look a certain way. Like, okay, no one's going to stand up at your funeral and be like, I'm so glad she lost those last 10 pounds.
Right.
So glad she wore a size 6. Like no one's going to be saying that. Your kid's going to be saying, I'm so glad that my mom, made it to all my performances, all my soccer games. Your friends will be like, she really listened to me and she was there for me. Like, why don't we focus on the things that we want people to say at our funeral? Because no one's going to be talking about, those last 10 pounds that we lost.
Right. And really just recognizing where we've placed it in terms of its importance. And if it feels like it is something that you're spending your majority of your day thinking about or worrying about, then really, acknowledging that too, that there might be time for a shift in where your mindset is and where your attention is going. So obviously I know that you help people with this. Tell everybody else, where can we find you? Where is the best place for them to really get in touch with you and learn more about what you do?
Yeah, so definitely follow me on Instagram. All my links are on there. My Instagram is this is Miranda Lee. So yeah, all my links are on there. You can go to my website, thisismirandalee.com. And my podcast is called the M-Powered Podcast. So M-Powered Podcast. And yeah, just connect with me. Like I said, you can find everything on either my website or my Instagram. You know, I just launched Diet Ditchers Academy to help people, you know, find food freedom, reframe their mindset, and just stop doing diets forever. So, you know, you can definitely do that course. It's, you know, a faith-based course, doing it on your own time, which is great because we don't always have time to sit down with a coach one-on-one. But yeah, just reach out and say hi. I'd love to talk to you guys.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. You had such a wealth of information that I think people can take and apply across so many different areas of their life too. And I just really appreciate that you're willing to come in and talk to my audience. I'm so grateful to have you in my life as a friend. And thank you again for everything that you had to share with us today, Miranda.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you were taking notes while listening to this episode. I feel like it was a mic drop after mic drop while speaking with Miranda. Here are a few takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, fitness is not a one-size-fits-all. It can look different for everyone and can be unhealthy to strive to what others look like who are up on some pedestal in society. Number 2, words are so heavy and so hurtful. Things from our childhood really can stick with us into adulthood. Commenting on another's body can be a really dangerous thing to do, as we don't know what is really going on behind the scenes. Number 3, fitness is really about doing it to build yourself up and be mentally and physically fit, not to chase the sometimes unrealistic expectation in society. Number 4, you can try all the diets and exercise constantly, but it isn't until you shift your mindset into a healthier and more compassionate state that you'll see your relationship with food and fitness shift. Number 5, honor your body right now, not what it used to be. And holding on to old items for when you were at a goal weight, it can truly create so much shame in your fitness journey. Number 6, our bodies are always communicating to us what they want to eat and how they want us to move. Lean into listening while knowing that you can do something and give yourself grace instead of going all in and being extreme with how you respond. You can find Miranda on Instagram at This is Miranda Lee, and her website is www.thisismirandalee.com. Thank you again for being here. I'm so excited to have you as a listener on the Being Whole podcast. Thanks again. See you next time.